I cheated on my husband because I thought he cheated first. This ruined my life. I met my husband at a friend's home party and connected almost immediately. Even the first time meeting him, he was incredibly handsome, very confident and charming. I knew several of the girls, including some of my friends, wanted to talk to him when we were there, but within the first 10 minutes of arriving at the party he came over to me. I felt almost chosen by him. We started dating a few days after, and the more time we started spending together, the more I started to fall for him. I have always had the feeling of him being completely out of my league, but meeting him never really made me feel unsure that he wanted to be with me. I knew beforehand he had been with plenty of women, but it didn't really bother me because he never spoke of it or ever mentioned it. The few times I asked him if he really wanted a relationship or if he was sure about us, he always told me he loved me and that he does not care about other women. After 2 years, we ended up getting married, we tried having a child, got a beautiful son, and we were planning on having another child. I love my husband more than anyone can imagine. But after giving birth I gained a bit of weight. He always told me he didn't care and that he loved me no matter what. He suggested I could start training with him, he goes to the gym 4 times a week, and that we could start this as an activity together. I always said yes, but we never ended up going together for several different reasons. He never got out of shape and regularly went training in the gym without trying to invite me there. As time moved on and the baby was taking most of our time, our intimacy life became non-existent, but he always assured me that he was still attracted to me. Most of the time he would try to initiate intimacy, but I would turn it down, mostly because of myself. I was insecure about my body and myself around him. This is still a huge regret for me. He even told me we could leave the baby at our parents', his or mine, to get alone time, but for some reason I kept neglecting him. My self-esteem kept getting worse and worse, but he was trying to cheer me up and encourage me. When we would go out somewhere, I could see other women looking at him or trying to make eye contact with him. It would bother me and I would tell him about it, but he would assure me he only loved me. One day as he came home from work, he went straight to bed telling me he was exhausted. I snooped around on his phone, looking at his messages on all social media platforms. I could see several chats with different women, some of whom I know are his ex-girlfriends. He had been asked to go meet for a coffee, or if they would want to meet up somewhere just as friends, but he always turned them down. I even saw archived messages of an ex who had messaged him out of the blue and asked if he wanted to meet up for good times, which is referring to intimacy. He had responded with "I have a wife" and blocked her. I really don't know why, but in my head I started making up that he must have been cheating on me with at least one of these girls. I ended up contacting an ex-boyfriend who I hadn't talked to for years. One thing led to another and we met up at a hotel close by. At first I just wanted some sort of payback, but as we ended up having intimacy I was filled with incredible regret. This all happened during the day when my husband was at work and had no idea. It took me 3 days to break down and tell him everything. He just kept looking at me but didn't say a single word, went upstairs, and locked the door to our bedroom. I followed him and was crying at the door, but he didn't say a single word to me. It took him a long time, but he finally came out, only to immediately leave the house. I haven't heard a single word from him. He didn't even say anything to me when leaving and was not even looking at me. I have tried to call him hundreds of times, but he still hasn't responded and I have no idea where he has gone. I am scared to contact his or my own family because I am scared that they will find out. Please, I really don't know what to do and just want to save my marriage. I have an incredible feeling of disgust, regret, and I don't even know why I didn't trust him. I know most of this roots down in my own insecurities, but I just want my husband back. He has left me alone with our baby. How can I get in contact with him? What can I do to save my marriage? Update: my life is completely ruined. I hate myself more than anything and just wish I can get my husband back. He came home for a few hours yesterday before packing up and leaving again. When he finally came home, he didn't say anything, went straight to our son, and refused to say a word to me even though I kept crying. He told me he wanted some alone time with our son. I begged him to stay and to talk about it. I was being completely transparent and told him I would tell him everything he asked, but he just stood up, looked at me in a disgusted, cold way and told me, "I don't want to know anything. I know all that I need to know." Then he just went over and took some more things to put in the bag. I completely panicked and started saying I love him and will do anything to get him back. I confessed that I had stopped the intimacy midway because I felt guilty. In the middle of that sentence he pushed me to the wall and held my arm and screamed, "I told you to shut the F up." I have never seen him so angry and disgusted. For a moment I thought he would hit me, but he never did. I tried to hug him but he refused to touch me. He told me I am used and broken to him now, he wants nothing to do with me. This completely broke me inside. I asked what this meant and he said we will be getting divorced. The only thing he wants right now is to be able to meet our son whenever he wants, but other than that he wants nothing to do with me. Later the same night, he called me on the phone and told me he will be contacting a lawyer because he wants a divorce. I don't know what will happen now. I have been crying constantly since this all happened. I am having panic attacks and I can't eat or sleep. He saw me completely broken but he still wants nothing to do with me and wants a divorce. I have so much remorse I almost feel a constant pressure in my chest and as if I am having cramps in my stomach. I still haven't been able to contact our families and I don't know if he has either. I am too embarrassed to do that. I just want my life back. I really can't imagine seeing a life without him or him being with another woman. My life has crashed into 1,000,000 pieces and I am just trying to pick them up and glue them together. Is there anything I can do? I want to die but can't for the sake of my son.